Good evening and welcome to the Gettysburg Area School District School Board meeting. The purpose of this meeting is to conduct the business of the Gettysburg Area School District. Board of Director meetings and committee meetings are open to the public but are not public meetings. All district residents who wish to speak during public comment should sign in prior to the start of the meeting and request to speak during citizens' participation. Public comment is welcome and all issues will be referred to the appropriate board committee or administrator. Comments will be summarized in the official board minutes, which will be made available by contacting the business office. As for roll call, Mr. Sigmund is absent and he's excused from tonight's meeting. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Jason, notice the communications section.
Sure. Turn it over to the group from James Geddes Elementary that we have here this evening to provide some information for the board. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. So on behalf of James Geddes Elementary, I'm Mr. Wells, principal, and I have with me tonight Jen Daniels, librarian, and Axa Jones, kindergarten teacher. With you, in front of you, you should have a folder that has all the same slides that you're going to see on the PowerPoint. I presented a paper copy because if you're like me, you like to have something in front of you, or at least I do, as any kind of presentation, something's being presented to me. So as we go through this, I just wanted to highlight a few things. And if you look on the first page there is kind of like an overview of what we'd like to share. A lot of things there, but I will keep it brief. But I want to start off by first saying thank you for this opportunity. It's great to be in front of you tonight and share all the good things that are happening at James Geddes. I couldn't be more proud of our school community, our parents, our teachers, and our students and staff. We do a lot of great things there, and a lot of it goes unnoticed. I want to extend a welcome out to all the board members. You're welcome to come over and stop over anytime. We'd love to have you in our building and to show you in person all the great things that are happening there. So I appreciate the opportunity to come and tell you a little bit about what's happening this year at James Geddes. We're going to share some historical data, so you have some information on how we're doing academically. In your packet today, as part of the presentation, is our March newsletter, our most recent one. We're working on getting the April newsletter together, but that details a lot of the great things that are happening at James Geddes. You've heard about the Warrior Way a number of times from different buildings I know that have presented in the past. So I wanted to share with you just what the Amazing Warriors and the Warrior Way, what that looks like at James Geddes. So myself and Mrs. Daniels will be talking to you a little bit more about that. We have some updates from some of our fundraising, the Strides for Students, and what that means for playground equipment. And then finally, we have, I'm so proud of the fact that we really partner with a lot of community agencies and organizations, with our parents, and making those home school connections. So we want to just touch base and share with you all that good work that we do, as well as preview or talk about our Math Madness is ending the fundraising part of it, but the culminating event and the excitement that's come from that. Mrs. Daniels is going to touch base and talk to you a little bit more about that. Some historical data and numbers I've learned as I dig into them, and there's someone that says you can make numbers tell you anything you'd want. They tell a story. So they just force you to dig a little bit deeper. There are some data pieces that are missing there as far as our Acadians piece of 2022-23 math data. So I'm looking to get you that piece. Acadians changed, and it's hard to get historical data with their new version. The 18-19 piece is before I was over at James Geddes, so I don't have that piece for the Acadians math. But as you're looking across that, and as you're taking time to look at across both the Acadians end of the year benchmark, that's the end of the year composite for reading, and the end of the year math composites, and you're looking over them from year to year, there's some peaks and there's some dips. same as the proficiency for an advance for reading and for math and for science. What I look as far as looking at the takeaways as I dig into data. And what I can say by looking at this data, for our building across the district, and as I look why the SA stands for statewide averages, when you look into the PSSA columns, the big takeaways that I have is that we've really weathered the COVID storm better than most. As a district, I think that's true. I know that's true. And as a building as well. We consistently beat the statewide averages. We did that prior to COVID. We continue to do that after. As we know, we're not the only school district in the state or in the country that's seen a COVID dip. But like I said, I think we've weathered the storm pretty well. And that's a testament to our staff, our students, and our families. Our staff work tirelessly. Our data team meets regularly every week. That's a formal meeting. They work together daily, talking about kids, advocating for kids, reviewing the data. We talk about the time and intensity of our interventions. Our reading coach, our math coaches, and our reading specialists and learning support teams, they work closely with the grade level teachers, and they it's a total team effort to make sure that we're moving kids and having our kids show growth. I couldn't be more proud of their efforts because I see and daily all that goes into that. It just doesn't happen that we're making the appropriate interventions to meet our students where they are and to get them moving positively in a positive direction. So our students work tirelessly. They're putting forth their effort. They're giving it their all, and our teachers are as well. So while the numbers aren't as we all would like them to be, like I said, in comparison, state averages, district-wide, state, I'll take those numbers, and I know that that's just a starting point. We naturally want to build on those, and we strive to do that, and we're committed to do that. So those are some of just the big takeaways that I have from the data. This slide just highlights the newsletter. There's a full newsletter that's in your packet. Talks about the great things that, details the things that are happening in each grade level. We have a new secretary, attendance secretary in our building, and we've took that opportunity to revamp our newsletter and the layout of it. It's located on our website, but you have a paper copy in your folders as well. In there, you're going to see by grade level the things that are happening in each grade level that kind of highlights this past month, whether it be kindergarten and dental health month, whether it be first grade and their visit from Vince Santucci, the paleontologist. There's something different and unique happening in each grade. And that there's an excitement in there with the building with our new CKLA curriculum that's heavy into high interest topics across the grade levels. And our teachers are really doing a great job as far as tailoring it to make it very engaging for our students. They're diving deep into not only what they've learned in the professional development and the resources, but really researching and finding things to bring into the classroom to really make those lessons come alive. And again, what we're doing with science, we look forward to that next year and the years to come as we build with that. But this year we've given that designated 30 minutes of science as we implement the STEEL standard. So a lot of exciting things happen in the classroom, and I encourage you to look over the newsletter at your convenience, and there's a lot of good things happening. The rest of the newsletter, as always, we want to make sure that we're giving out good information to our parents and our community. So there's information on how to, forms to turn in, things to do, procedures, updates. We want to keep our families updated on as much as we can, and we do that through our newsletter. So, again, I'm encouraged by the dedication of our staff to really give helpful information to our parents within that format. I just want to take this opportunity before turning it over to Mrs. Daniels to talk about the PBIS efforts at James Geddes and the Warrior Way. If you notice if you haven't been in the building, the sign you're going to see the most is right on the front entrance, the Welcome to James Geddes home of Amazing Warriors. That sign, as well as other signs that are throughout the building that talk about our positive behavior expectations, that was through the efforts. We purchased those signs from our PBIS staff, our committee of teachers that are dedicated to those efforts, who meet regularly, and our whole staff as far as fundraising to get the funds to pay for those, as well as we had a donation from the GAEF and working with Todd Orner to make those signs happen. So it's a combined effort there. But, it's on the next page in your handout, not here on this, or on the slide, yes, it's on here as well. Just some additional signs that you'll see if you are in the building, and this is just a few of them. There's the collage of different expectation signage throughout the building. If you look in our multi-purpose room, there's signs above the stage. And that bottom, in that collage, the bottom right corner, the James Geddes Amazing Warrior, we use those signs when we have our Amazing Warrior honoree breakfast, and where kids use that as an opportunity, and parents to get a snapshot with their student to really celebrate them and to really acknowledge their positive efforts. At this time, I'm going to get into more specifics about the PBI efforts at James Geddes. I'm going to ask Mrs. Daniels to explain a little bit more in detail.
So at James Geddes, we do have a very strong PBIS team, and just to kind of remind everybody, it's positive behavioral interventions and supports, and it's a school-wide systems approach aimed at establishing positive student culture and individualized behavior supports to create a safe and effective learning environment. We have a special monthly breakfast called our Amazing Warrior Breakfast to honor students selected by their teacher for exhibiting positive behavior. Each month, a different theme or focus is highlighted. Families are invited to the breakfast to enjoy some time with their special Amazing Warrior. We also have quarterly celebrations to acknowledge all positive behaviors from all students, and this includes an assembly, followed then by teacher-led activities, with each child getting to pick an activity that they'd like to do based on his or her interests.
Thank you. As well as you probably, if you have students or grandchildren in the building or children in a building, they may talk to you about tickets that they receive, as well as Amazing Warrior cards. Those are just quick incentives that we give, handing out tickets. We do a Ticket Tuesday as we award warrior cards that are a little bit above and beyond that exceptional positive behavior. They receive the warrior cards. So we're trying to catch students in all the best ways that we can, all those positive behaviors, and reinforcing those. And they light up when they get a ticket. They light up when they get a warrior card. And we're more than happy to award those and to really acknowledge those positive behaviors. That's just some of the things that we do here as we support the Warrior Way. Again, if you were over in our building through the fine arts recently, or in the building at all recently, these are just permanent bulletin displays that help support those efforts. The Amazing Warrior recipients, we take their picture, and those are posted on the bulletin board. We say once an Amazing Warrior, always Amazing Warrior. And we use those opportunities when we see those students to remind them that they are Amazing Warriors. And they were acknowledged in the past, but they continue to be. And we encourage those positive behaviors. As well as we just want to find out a little bit more about our Amazing Warriors. We have a recipient focus bulletin board where they're honored, and besides their photo being up there, it talks a little bit about their likes and interests on the bulletin board as well. There are a number of things mentioned in the newsletters, but just a couple events I wanted to highlight that were very successful recently and previously in the fall. We had our Strides for Students event back in October, led by Mrs. Picatus, and if you had students, you might have been out there on the back playground area, as far in the field there, walking with your students. That effort of those Strides for Students raised almost $13,000, and those funds were earmarked towards playground equipment. Playground equipment isn't cheap, as you know, and we were able to secure It's in the midst of being purchased now and will be installed and those things out on the playground for our students to enjoy this year, so they see the fruits of their labor on both primary and intermediate playgrounds, as well as some on the blacktop out there as well. Some new things painted that'll happen probably over the summer months, but we are just so thankful for the support of the community, our parents. They never hesitate to when asked to give, and we were just blown away by those efforts. So that was a great event that was held in October. More recently, the last week we had 2 nights that were just packed full, standing room only, for our kindergarten and second grade, and then our first and third grade fine arts night. That all of our special teachers work closely with those teachers in those grade levels to put on a fantastic performance throughout, not only to sing some songs and to help support tie in with our Warrior Way hashtags, but as well as there was an opportunity for parents to see our building, see the artwork that's going on and that happens in art class put throughout the building. They had a chance to visit the book fair, which was a huge success as we tied it in with fine arts. So it was a great opportunity and really great to see our families coming out and supporting their students, our school, our students. I'm just so pleased with the support that we have with our families. So they were great, 2 great nights that we had with fine arts this past week. Going along with that, the support of the community, I'm going to again turn it over to Ms. Daniels to talk about, you have a handout in your folder, and I'm sure we didn't capture everything, but there's a number of tie-ins that we have with the community and our families on a regular basis, and so there's just a few of them that are in your handout and that are highlighted here on this slide. But also I want Ms. Daniels to talk a little bit more about the Math Madness, because that's really the buzz that's been in our building. The kids are excited about it. The staff's excited about it. We kicked that event off last year, and we built on it this year, and we've got some exciting things to come to help celebrate those efforts.
So thank you again for this opportunity to talk about some of the things going on at James Geddes. When I think of James Geddes, the first word that comes to my mind is community. Community within our school, but also community connections outside of our school. The Gettysburg community provides an essential support system for our school. It offers resources, volunteers, and expertise in a variety of areas. Whether it's through parent-teacher associations, local businesses, or community leaders, the collective effort of community enriches the educational experience for the students at James Geddes. A strong community connection fosters a sense of belonging and pride. This helps to motivate students to excel academically and socially. When students feel connected to their community, whether that be James Geddes or the greater Gettysburg community, they are more likely to be engaged in their studies, participate in extracurricular activities, and contribute positively to society. A thriving school community connection attracts families, drives economic growth, and instills a sense of civic responsibility to its students. In many cases, this connection encourages people to return to the community and give back. Our James Geddes School currently has 11 teachers and one of our building secretaries who are graduates from Gettysburg High School. 11 teachers and a secretary who have a lifelong connection to the Gettysburg Area School District. I think that's huge. In addition to these graduates, every teacher, every single teacher and staff member embraces the community feel that makes James Geddes so special. This offers a wide range of opportunities and community connections. To just highlight a few of these community connections, we had students from the Allied Health from ACD come to a 3rd grade class as part of the culminating activity for a CKLA human body unit. Mr. Santucci, a paleontologist and a grandparent of a student, visited 1st grade classes to reinforce another CKL unit on the history of the Earth. As Mr. Wells said, we had our Fine Arts Evening, which highlighted our students' many, many talents. We had a book fair in the library. We are also working with a community organization through the library called Trout Unlimited. This organization has supplied equipment and supported a program called Trout in the Classroom, where we raise trout from eggs to fish and then release them. And of course, there are band, orchestra, chorus concerts throughout the year for family and community members to attend. We just finished up today our second annual Math Madness, which is a spin-off of, as everyone knows, March Madness. This is a fundraiser and a math-focused event that all students get to participate in. Students, families, and community members made donations as soon as students practiced math facts and completed math activities throughout the past 2 weeks. Just today, it was announced that we hit our goal of raising $5,000. Because we hit our target of improved math computation and $5,000, we all get to go to Gettysburg College later this week. Students will get to interact with the men's and women's college basketball players, learn about their dedication to the sport and their education, to watch some basketball. Students will get to enjoy a student versus teacher basketball game. It will certainly be a memorable event. So the above-mentioned items are just a fraction of the collaborative effort of James Gettys students, staff, and community working together to make James Gettys a place children and adults feel welcomed and valued. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Daniels. And I would just conclude by saying, as I started off our presentation, we appreciate, on behalf of the whole school community at James Gettys, we appreciate this opportunity of putting us on the agenda and having us present for you tonight and share all the good things that are happening. We just want to thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wells. Does a board member have a question? Al?
Yeah, I have a question or two and a couple remarks. First of all, a big thank you for coming tonight and for this presentation. Principal Wells, the Acadians benchmark assessments, I'm not familiar with that one, and I see the end-of-year information that we have here. Thank you for providing that. In the upper elementary, when kids start taking the state assessment, the PSSAs and so on, I'm just curious, are they pretty well aligned with state standards and the expectations on the PSSAs?
Yes. Yes, they claim to be. They should be a good indicator and a good predictor of student
Right.
success on the PSSAs. The data that I gave you are just the composite scores. We look into that data a lot more deeper. For instance, the oral reading fluency, nonsense word fluency when it comes
Right.
to there's a lot of different components to both the reading and the math scores. I just gave you the composites there, but that is something that our reading specialists and our data team regularly look at. And again, we've seen some progress there over the course of the years, and we continue to monitor that closely.
How often do they take those benchmark assessments in most of the grades?
There's a beginning, a middle, and an end-of-the-year assessment.
Fantastic. That way you can make adjustments along the way and whatnot. Just a couple other things. I attended Fine Arts the other night, and just you can't help but just get a great feeling when you're at James Gettys Elementary School. And Principal Wells, your introduction of the program and so on, you could just tell by your energy and enthusiasm that there's a lot of teamwork there. I know Jen Daniels pretty well, and I think she is indicative of a lot of the staff that you have at James Gettys Elementary School. You mentioned how many were Warrior graduates and whatnot, but I just see a lot of the staff members there going over and beyond the call of duty to really make it a successful experience for all the kids. And my one grandson, and next year I'm going to have a granddaughter there as well. He's having a fantastic experience. Also, I want to thank you all for your community partnerships that you have. You mentioned a lot of them here. In addition to those, I'm the AYSO commissioner for Gettysburg. Like, I need one more thing to do. But allowing us to have meetings in the building, allowing us, the partnership that we have with using the fields during the week and on Saturdays for a better part of the day is, on behalf of AYSO, just a big thank you for your cooperation and partnership there. Mr. Reynolds as well, a big thank you to you all. And I think that's all I have. So thanks for coming tonight, and thanks for the information. I look forward to checking it out further.
Thank you.
Alice?
I'll also say thank you for your presentation. It's really wonderful to hear about. I think there's some of these events that I'm aware of happening and some, like you said, that are kind of under the radar or just happening without recognition, but clearly supporting the kids in their learning, which is awesome. I really enjoy seeing the bulletin boards and kind of the ways that you're visually representing and reinforcing those positive behaviors around the building. It makes a big difference and definitely shows belonging in that way on that board. So that is wonderful to see. I also was reading through some of the events that you have on your newsletter, and oh wow, like I'm listening and looking at all of these different field trips and opportunities for hands-on learning that I think are really wonderful and indicative of a lot of collaboration to do that. That is no small feat to take, second graders to the Whitaker Center and all of those things. So that is very important to their learning and great to see how much you guys are doing that together as a team. So congrats on that as well.
Thank you.
Any additional? Mr. Wells, thank you very much and your staff for your presentation. On behalf of the board, I'm sure I speak for them. I would echo all the same comments. Oftentimes in the board meetings, we haggle over issues that are not related to what you do on a daily basis. I want you to please express our gratitude. Our best word, I guess, is gratitude for the professionalism and the work you guys do each day.
Will do.
Thank you. That brings us to our next citizens' participation. I am getting the no sign. Routine approvals. This evening, I need to separate one item at request of a board member. So I will take a motion for 5.1, 5.3, 5.4, and 5.5 inclusive. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Question on the motion. Hearing no question, roll call. Ryan?
Yes.
Michelle?
Yes.
Jeremy?
Yes.
Cindy?
Yes.
Al?
Yes.
Alice?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
And I vote yes. That brings us to our last routine approval, 5.2, the financial report. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Question on the floor?
Mr. President, I will abstain from this vote. My wife is a recipient of one of the funds being paid out.
But yeah, that's fine. I think what I'll do is through roll call, still call his name, and he can just say abstain. That way we're on the record. Hearing no question, roll call. Jeremy?
I abstain.
Cindy? Al?
Yes.
Alice?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Michelle?
Yes.
Ryan?
Yes.
And I vote yes. There are no items for board action this evening, so we'll move on to the informational items. I'll go through each one individually. If a board member has a question, please address the chair, and you'll be recognized. 7.1, Policy 340, Responsibility of Students' Welfare. Hearing no question. 7.2, Policy 341, Benefits for Part-Time Employees. No question. 7.3, Policy 342, Jury Duty. Hearing no question. Policy 7.4, Policy 343, Paid Holidays. Hearing no question. 7.5, Policy 351, Drug and Substance Abuse. No question. 7.6, Policy 352, Lactation Accommodation.
Comment, Mr. President?
Yes.
I attend the policy committee meetings, and I just want to thank Mike for the work that he's done with that, Jason for bringing the policies to us, Lee for being there to consult and answer questions and clarify things. And Mike, unless I'm mistaken, Dr. Perrin also we're pretty close to updating our entire policy manual, if I'm not mistaken, which is a good place to be.
Yeah, we're about 3 or 4 policies away from completing the Policy 300s project, which we started about a year ago. So we'll only have personnel policies specific in the 300s, retire all the 400s and 500s. So it'll reduce the number of policies to keep track of. And these 300 policies will apply to every single employee, regardless of job class. Yeah.
I just think that's a really good accomplishment, and besides kudos to you all, kudos to the teachers and the staff members that are also part of that committee. So thanks to all of you.
7.7 is the capital improvement plan, 5-year plan replacing heating system boilers at the Franklin Township Elementary School. Questions?
I have a question.
Michelle?
It says this was in the 5-year plan, but I didn't see it in there. So can somebody just point out where exactly, I mean, if it needs done, it needs done. I'm not going to argue that, but I'm just asking where exactly it was.
In terms of, and this is one of the things that we were changing, the board's familiar. So if Jason, in terms of under Roberts, if you have somebody in the audience that wishes to answer, you can have them address the board.
Mr. Reynolds to.
Yeah, it was either on I'll call it the amended version of this year due to the budget cut, or is on the plan for last year. But I can get this specific plan here for you.
So it is a planned expenditure, and the money's been set aside for it. So just so.
Any additional questions?
Kenny, can I ask one other question?
You have the floor, Michelle.
And it's not specifically about this, but earlier, well, I guess it was last week, in the Times, there was a picture of us doing some fencing around Lincoln. And the caption was that so that we could start working there, but I thought we were doing James Geddes first.
Mr. Reynolds.
Evening shift work started at Lincoln on the 4th of March. And we will be over here, actually, we just started tonight with some light replacement in the gym over at James Geddes. But the consistent evening shift work will start at Geddes on the 8th of April. And just to clarify, the fencing was for the lay-down dumpster area up behind Lincoln. We'll also put some additional fencing, it looks like, down in the parking lot behind Mr. G's, so it doesn't get parked close and eliminate access.
Are there any additional questions? That brings us to board committee reports. Are there any this evening?
Yeah, the policy committee will convene on April 9th at 4 p.m. in the boardroom here.
Program reports?
Just as a reminder, spring begins tomorrow.
You wouldn't know it.
It's supposed to keep the snow away. Also, as a reminder, end of the month, school is not in session during the holiday from the 28th through April 1st. School resumes on April 2nd.
That brings us to the calendar of board events. If you look and see, our next meeting is April 8th. You'll see a 3-week cycle, I believe, if my math is right. That's just how it fell. So our next board meeting will be here April 8th at 7 p.m. Hearing nothing further, we will stand adjourned. Thank you.